In today's episode, it's going to be unusually longer than normal. I recorded a video Friday, but I had no time to edit it or upload it during the weekend. So today, Sunday, for a video Monday, I'm going to go ahead and react to my videos as I would normally do it and just add it to the video that I recorded Friday. So technically you're getting 2 days worth of content in one video, so it's probably going to be a pretty long one. Probably the longest video on this channel. So sit back, relax, and let's get into some of these creepy videos.
And here it is, the giant meteor impact crater near Winslow, Arizona. That is the exact point of impact. And this is the crater rim. It's about 1/4 mile across and looks to me to be about 1,000 feet deep. And this is the rim of the crater. A meteor about 150 meters wide struck the ground here about 25,000 years ago and created this giant impact. This is the best example of an impact crater in the country, maybe the world. So I'm glad that I got to see it here and got to make a cool TikTok.
You know, a lot of people in the comments of this video are actually saying that that's an old geyser from the Great Flood. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
So here is the pyramid covered in trees. Over here are some megalithic stones. These are probably like 5 to 10 tons. Just disappearing into the mud. What the heck were they used for? Nature's taking them back again. What were these giant stone wheels used for?
That's actually pretty cool. I would love to explore somewhere that had pyramids or old structures like that. I've actually never done that personally. I think that would be awesome.
All the dust experts won't be able to debunk this one.
Who else is around? They're very interested. Look at the color of you. Wow. Holy moly, don't go away, please. Oh, man.
I like these types of videos because those are abnormal orbs. They're not just like regular specks of dust. Whether it was an orb or something, it actually wasn't just a strand of dust just floating across the screen. It was something that was coming to the phone, floating there for a second, and then just floating off. That's kind of neat. And I've seen plenty of orb videos kind of like that, of different colors. There's blue ones, green ones, purple ones, all different types. Let me know in the comments, have any of you ever seen anything like that?
Red Mercury, and this guy is showing how gold actually attracts. So he's got red mercury on a white plate, and he puts a gold ring next to it, and it actually, the red mercury actually starts moving towards the gold ring. He puts garlic next to it, and it actually pushes away the red mercury. And he also shows that red mercury cannot be seen in a mirror. So I started looking it up, and Wikipedia even claims that this is all false, that it's apparently a hoax. Wikipedia says that this red mercury didn't appear till I think the late 1980s. Yeah. That was the first time anybody has ever heard of it. It was 1980s. And it's been used by con men. In the video, as you can see that these weird effects and phenomena, and he's doing all this in front of a mirror and you can't see it at all. So you can buy red mercury right now on Lab Alley. You can buy a bottle of red mercury for $121. You can buy another bottle of Red Mercury for $1,500.
I definitely do not recommend going off the internet buying Red Mercury. I've heard of Red Mercury before. Some say that it's vampire blood, some say it's a hidden element of mercury that elites don't want us to know about. Let me know your thoughts about this. I personally don't believe in it.
Yes, I'm in my closet. With that being said, I'm getting ready to say something that's definitely going to ruffle a couple of feathers, so if you're not prepared for your feathers to be ruffled, this is the time to leave the video because I did give you a fair warning. On the road to self-mastery, what I discovered is that you have to die. That's literally what it is. You only get to the truth when you die. So, in some timeline, I'm physically dead. I know. It's confusing, so let me explain. This is the Kabbalah Tree of Life. This is the process by which all things are manifested. Once everything is manifested, it has to follow the process from man to God in order to go from duality to oneness, which is to say it must re-enter the womb, but not the womb you're thinking about. Not the womb of the woman, which is a womb, but not the premier womb or the first womb. The first womb is the mind of God. But when I say it has to go from man to God, I mean all things, which is everything, everywhere, all at once, which is God, source, spirit, going from duality to oneness, soul to spirit, self to cosmos. Which is to say, because everything must evolve from man to God, everything that ever is and ever will be is already manifested right now. And furthermore, everything is already dead. Let me tell you how I know. Because we are in the age of Aquarius. The veil has been lifted. Time has ended. We are in a new era, which is to say the only way the veil has been lifted is if the 3D Earth, the body, has been destroyed.
This is a friendly reminder to always advocate for yourself. I haven't been able to walk for a month. And when I first went to the doctor, it was, oh, you probably tore a ligament. Here's some physical therapy to fix that. I do extreme sports that you only watch on documentaries. So I know pain and I know injuries. And I was like, no, it's not a torn ligament or a broken bone. Something is really wrong. But you know, look at me. I look fine and I'm young. I had to push really hard for an MRI, which by the way, couldn't be scheduled for 3 weeks out. And here is my leg. And this is a giant cell tumor. So then I'm told that, oh, I can't see a doctor about this until January 30th, which is unacceptable. I call them and I have a full-blown mental breakdown. I mean, I'm crying because holy shit, and thank God the woman finally felt so bad for me that she scheduled me to see the doctor, the oncologist, on Christmas Eve. And he took one look at this and was like, we need to get this out ASAP. Like, honestly, for the last 2 months, where has everyone been? Fortunately, I have a biopsy scheduled in a couple of days to find out if this is cancer, and then I have it removed in a week, regardless of if it's cancer. So yeah, friendly reminder to always push them because they think you're faking it, or I don't even know, honestly.
It's really unfortunate that they're not actually taking the time to listen to the patient. And I get that maybe a doctor thinks that they know better than a patient, but if someone is truly feeling a little abnormal than what they would normally be feeling under extreme circumstances, like this person here is an athlete, so they know the difference between, oh, my leg really hurts, a broken bone, sprained ankle, muscles, whatever have you, to something not feeling normal. So why would you not listen to a person when they're trying to stress that, hey, I understand that you're trying to tell me that it could be these things, but I do these on a regular basis to know that it's not these things. But then again, that would also lead to everyone else probably knowing what they're talking about. Not everyone does. Hopefully she gets this fixed because that seems pretty serious. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's watching and or subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I would also like to give a special shout out to all of my members. So to everyone that you see on the screen right now, thank you guys so much for being a member on my channel.
The Shroud of Turin is supposedly the shroud that when Jesus was taken off the cross, he was put in this shroud and put in the tomb. It was first discovered in like the 1300s. It's always been dismissed, but the evidence that they've collected recently, and it was a man that was actually atheist, but he set out to do a documentary proving that it's a hoax, and they found out that the fabric is indeed from Israel, and it dates back 2,000 years ago.
Whoa.
When you do the x-ray and you get the negative image of it, you can see where the blood stains were, and it's on his hands, his feet, on his head, and where his side was stabbed by the spear.
Oh my gosh.
But that atheist guy, after doing this investigation on it, he's now a Christian.
Why? What turned it for him?
He said, there's no way this can be fake.
Wow.
They said that we're able to extract creatine and something else, which your body puts out when it's in stress. So they say like a lot of torture victims, they excrete this stuff out of their skin and in their blood. And so they're able to find traces of that in it as well.
Wow.
And then they put it into AI and like made it look like this is what Jesus probably looked like.
Where do vegetables come from? The grocery store. Okay. Not one of those vegetables in the grocery store is natural in the wild, anywhere. No tomatoes, no broccoli, no corn, none of that shit grows in the wild. Potatoes, lettuce. You might find some little wild lettuces periodically or some little wild spinach, but not enough to feed on. None of those vegetables. Onions, you get some little tiny little spring onions that might grow in the forest, but one here, one there, you're not gonna live on onions. But none of that stuff, soybeans, none of that stuff, asparagus, none of that stuff grows in the wild, anywhere. It's all man manipulated, which that's fine, whatever. There's some vitamins in there, but there's also poisons in every single one of them. Every vegetable in that grocery store has poisonous lectins in them. Now keep on listening, because I'm about to break it down for you. The reason why you've been convinced that vegetarianism or veganism is good is because of propaganda through big agriculture, right? Big ag companies. They own millions of acres of farms, okay? They fake it like it's organic, and they spray all this shit on there, and they keep making it bigger and bigger and sweeter and less nutritious, right? It's all sugar and fiber at this point. But that's owned by, guess who? BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, these huge hedge funds that own 89% of the world's largest companies.
Okay, did I miss something? When did this happen to Netflix? So I click it, right? I watched it yesterday, and now it's saying unavailable because the ad support. Then I start seeing these things, the lock. Was there an email I missed or an announcement?
I'm not gonna lie, I do not regret canceling my Netflix subscription. It's been about 2 to 3 years now, if not longer, honestly. I literally spent more time scrolling through the Netflix thumbnails watching the trailers of the movies and TV shows than actually watching the movies and TV shows. It just always seemed like there was nothing that I truly wanted to watch, so I just got rid of it.
A long time ago, I used to live in Las Vegas, and I had a neighbor. He was some drunk former military guy, and one day we were talking about just nothing, and he had told me that he used to work at Area 51, and so I was like, "Oh yeah, have you seen the aliens? What do they look like? Blah blah blah, yada yada." And he would never, ever tell me nothing. You couldn't pry anything out of him. But one night, we had a power outage, and like the whole neighborhood was black. You couldn't see anything. So the night sky was like really dark. You could see like a lot of the stars because there was no outside light to drown out the stars. He was real stinking drunk. I remember this guy used to drink like a half gallon of whiskey every 3 days.
Wow.
So we're just talking and bullshitting, and out of nowhere he goes, "Hey, you see Orion's belt?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what the hell it looks like." And he goes, "Yeah, up there." He goes, "You see Orion's belt?" He goes, "You see how you see two stars that are straight, very, very parallel to each other, and then there's a little star that's slightly adjacent and off to the left." And I said, yeah, I see it, whatever. And he goes, "The bad aliens live on that adjacent star." And I looked at him and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever." And he goes, "Yeah, no," he goes, "I'm serious." He goes, the two stars, that's where the good aliens live. The bad aliens live on that other star. And he said the good aliens look like the traditional grays that we see on, in magazines on the internet with the big head, the big eyes. They're really small and gray. He said the bad aliens are brown colored, very tall, and they smell. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, I didn't really believe in UFOs then. But he goes, I said, if there's really aliens, I said, how do their UFOs, like, how are they able to travel from that star all the way over here? Because, we're dealing with, rocket engines and stuff like that. And he said that the UFOs, they basically run on electricity that's created out of nothing. I think he said space. He goes, they have like a, it was really, he said it in a confusing way, but he said that the UFOs run on electricity that's gathered up in space, and that instead of how a rocket, is driven by thrust, by a combustion engine, he says, the reason how the UFOs are able to go so fast, is that, he said that there's an engine on a UFO that opens up a void in space. And it's almost like he said the UFO is not that it's being thrust, but it's falling into itself. I don't know. I'm not sure if I believed him, but, he said it pretty matter-of-factly. And he was, super drunk, because this guy, you could not ever have told him anything of a kind. You could never tell, get anything out of him. But then he just goes off and says that. So, who knows? It could be real. UFOs, I kind of do believe in UFOs because I kind of seen one. I'm not sure if it was real, but it was in the Mojave Desert, and there was a plane going overhead, but it was going way, way too fast to be a plane. It's almost like when you see a jet, and it's going over across the sky. It's probably doing 500 miles an hour, maybe 450. Well, this thing was going like 40 times faster than what a jet would be going up that high in the sky. So I don't know what the hell it was. And who knows? Is it true? Hell if I know.
That'd be interesting.
If any government officials see this, and if this is true, and I let out government secrets, please don't kill me. I don't want to die. I don't know. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut.
Darkest unsolved mysteries that will seriously change your life. This shows some of the world's scariest unsolved mysteries, from ones that you all know at the top to ones that you've never heard about but will change your life. Of course, we're going to be going from the top to the bottom. In 2007, a crew on this yacht here set sail from the coast of Australia. After just a few days, no one had heard from the crew. No one could see where they were. After a few days, a search helicopter actually spotted the boat from the air. It appeared to still be moving and sailing like normal, so they weren't too concerned but wanted to check it out anyway. And the boat was owned by this guy, and he set out with his mates to basically go out and look at the Great Barrier Reef. Now, the search party got to the boat, and this is where things get very strange. The boat was running. The control desks were all on. No signs of any unusual activity. The boat was running perfectly fine. No problems with it whatsoever. But there was one problem. There was no one on the boat. The men were gone. No signs of them being there. Their belongings were all still there, perfect as they were before. Now, originally they thought this could have been something due to bad weather, but there was no bad weather while they were out. It was all checked. Still to this day, they've never been found. There's never been a case closed on this whole thing. Many people do believe that it was something to do with UFOs, and a lot of people believe that they jumped in to go and explore the Great Barrier Reef and the boat had sailed away and left them behind. But as I say, nobody's
That's a good point.
How did you find your way to the rim against one of the best defenses in the league? How did you find your way to the rim against one of the best defenses in the league?
That kind of looks like a filter to me, but I've seen this video floating around on TikTok quite a bit. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that this guy's eyes actually shapeshifted during the interview, or do you think someone's using a filter?
Here's your new rabbit hole to jump down, folks. In 1952, the Great Smog of London happened. So what the specialists, or whatever the hell you want to call them, they said it was caused from unusual cold weather, no wind, and it picked up pollution particles in the air, and it blanketed the whole city literally into darkness. Okay, you can do your research. I've already done mine, and I got my ideas on what I think's going to happen. So here we are. All this shit's happening. We've all seen the videos with the particles in the air. All right, so there's your first rabbit hole. The next one is electricity. A woman had a video yesterday that the United States runs off of 3 hubs. So if they were to shut one of them down, it would literally cut off 1/3 of the United States from electricity. What if they were to hit all 3 of them, folks? You know, a major terrorist attack? It would put the whole country into darkness. Was this done by design? Go and dive down deep into that hole. Because I remember here a little over 20 years ago that we were shut into darkness for 2 days when the hub up in New Jersey blew a transformer. Now I'm in the state of Florida. Imagine that. Okay? Start diving, folks, because it's coming fast, like this weekend.
Now, I'm personally at this point probably going to be done with the fog videos, kind of just like the drone situation. It's all over TikTok. It's all over the internet in general. Fog, drones, all of that everywhere. And my personal beliefs, and I truly do believe that this fog is not the normal fog that I've experienced through most of my life. And I know a lot of people get upset when I say that. I see you guys in the comments, but it's just truly how I feel about it. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to spread false awareness. I truly do feel like this fog is different. It stinks. It's very dense, and it just comes out of nowhere, in and out of all temperatures. It could be hot out, it could be cold out. It's going to come whenever it wants to.
This comment right here is so real, and honestly, like, there's so many things that strike me as strange when it comes to that encounter. I wholeheartedly believe that that dude was possessed. Like for starters, this man literally went and set this woman ablaze on the F train, went out, and sat there and watched her burn with like a blank, dead look on his face. Like, no movement, no emotion, just sitting there watching her. And then another weird thing about that situation is the fact that she just stood there. Like, if y'all seen the video, it's very traumatizing, but I'm not telling you to go look it up. But if you've seen it, you know. She literally was standing there, like, no sound, nothing. And I felt such a strange, like, sense of doom when I watched that. And I know that scientifically, like, you can be in so much pain that your body just stops, but it just, something felt strange about that. Just seeing someone being engulfed in flames and not reacting didn't sit right with me. At this point, I really hope y'all understand that when you get intoxicated through any substance, you are opening a door. You are opening the door to these evil entities in the spirit realm. This is why the Bible tells us to be of right mind, alert, sober, because these demons use being intoxicated and not alert to enter into us and influence our actions. I wholeheartedly believe that most serial killers and people that do the most evil, crazy things are dealing with demons. How many times have y'all seen like killers in the courtroom just like laughing or having this like sinister look when the judge is giving them their punishments or their jail time? Like, no remorse, completely inhumane. Those are demons. If this don't give you a New Year's resolution to get off those substances, I don't know what will. And while we're on this topic, yes, I know that the man that did this heinous crime did come here illegally and he was an immigrant. That does not give you the right to be racist. Like, let's be so for real. I have seen so many videos saying, oh, this is why, da, 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 da. I'm not going to say what they're saying because I'm not trying to get banned and I do not approve. Please don't take this as a sign or the okay to go be racist to Hispanics. This one man does not define a whole community. Like, let's be for real. Come on. Anyway, rest in peace to that lady. I heard she was a nurse. Some people are saying she was a homeless woman. I don't know, but regardless, rest in peace. This is just crazy. This world is sick.
Now, the video that she's talking about, I will not show on here because it is extremely gruesome. It's very brutal. And I don't like to theorize around things like this because people's lives were involved, but it leads me to believe that things like this are broadcasted for a reason. What if that's a trigger for people that's been subconsciously hypnotized to unlock something in them that they cannot control? You know, kind of like MK Ultra type of stuff. What if that scene was a design setup made by greater entities, even though these people do have lives? What if that was set up to trigger some people to unlock whatever they had stowed away in them as a weapon? Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
You might want to put that morning coffee down. Did you know that coffee is a super acidic neurotoxin that fries your adrenals? Coffee doesn't actually give you energy. What it does is it gives you a pain reaction. This is just like a jockey whipping his horse. The horse goes faster from the pain of the whip. You are frying your adrenals, and this is why you have to come back and get more, and you're just whipping yourself and frying your adrenals. On top of that, what happens every single time that you drink coffee almost instantly? Your body knows it's a neurotoxin and it tries to flush it out of both ends. And you know this to be a fact because everyone that drinks coffee, I used to be an avid coffee drinker. That's how you got your morning started. Everything, all the juices started flowing. But hey, you don't have to believe me. Check this out.
And caffeine is one of the most acidic things on the planet to your body. And they've got 40,000 Starbucks out there. So you wonder why it's 1 in 2 people with. You're drinking yourselves this coffee all day because you're tired. But let's stop and think a minute. You're tired, so you need a brown liquid to wake you up. Why are you tired? You weren't born tired. You know, we are connected to the circadian rhythms of the universe. So when the sun comes up, our bodies are supposed to get up. And as the sun comes down, we're supposed to gradually lose our energy so that then we rest and regenerate for the next day. So if you're tired at 10 in the morning when you wake up, what's that telling me? It's telling me that your cells didn't get any food to wake you up. Your cells didn't get any fuel or nutrients to get you up. So you need a drug to make you get going for the day. But you don't really have the real energy to do it. This is a false energy. And that false energy in my world is killing.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
I'll be honest, coffee is one of my bad habits. I'm extremely addicted to it. I love coffee. I can drink probably about 4 or 5 cups a day easily, if not more, if I don't control myself.
If you carve this thing, you'll be dead. It is pure turquoise. When you carve stone, you have to know what you're carving. Okay? You can't just buy a stone, grind it, chisel it, and cut it without knowing the chemical content. It's really cool to look at, but you cannot carve it dry because it's toxic. Isn't that cool? For example, this is pipestone. Very cool. But do you know this is 100% silica? Silica is deadly. It's dangerous. You have to know what you're carving before you carve it. You have to do your homework.
Anybody that got an iPhone, they got Siri. Let me tell you something. Siri knows everything that you be talking about. So I left my wallet at home, right? So I texted my wife and said, take the wallet with you to work, and when I get off, I come by and get it, right? My wife had sent me a text. So right after she texted me, she called me. She said, baby, did you know that while I was sending your text, Siri told me, don't forget your husband's wallet? Man, she said they kind of scared her, like, what kind of message did how Siri know my conversation? Man, y'all better be careful with this Siri stuff. That thing too nosy.
I also have an iPhone. It does have a certain level of intelligence and awareness that is a little too much. It knows when I get into my vehicle and knows when I'm going to work specifically, and or if I'm going to a friend's house specifically. So it pops up notifications saying, oh, it'll take you this amount of time to get to work, or it'll take you this amount of time to get to this house. Not to mention the mind-reading ads that pop up when you're on YouTube or wherever. I swear your phones are listening to you. I'll be thinking of something, not even talk about it into the wind. Next thing I know, there it is on YouTube playing an ad. Like, what?
Ugh, what a day. Let's turn on some YouTube. Oh, sir, we got some activity. 10-minute video. Run the pre-ad. And we are rolling advertisement. A pre-ad? On a 10-minute video? I'm skipping that, bro. Sir, he skipped the ad. He skipped the ad? Yep, like it wasn't even there. All right, hey, we got something for him.
That's how you
All
do
right,
it.
so we've hit the 2-minute mark. Give him a minute-long ad. All right, we making it skippable? After 30 seconds, let's see if he makes the same mistake. A minute-long ad? Nah, they're tripping, bro. I'm 2 minutes in. Sir, he skipped it again. All right, move. I'm making an example out of this guy. Think you can skip my ads, bro? What are you doing, sir? Rolling a 15-second skippable ad at the 4-minute mark. But sir, he's just gonna skip it again. Yep, right into a 2-minute unskippable ad. Oh my gosh, you're a genius. Another... Bro, I'm skipping that. 2 minutes? Sir, he's changing videos. Oh, you think you can run from me, bro? I'm just gonna watch some Tavon Austin highlights. Oh, Tavon Austin? That's cute. 4-minute Ozempic ad. You've gotta be kidding me.
Man, those Ozempic ads, I get so tired of them. Now, recently, I'm not gonna lie, I have upgraded to YouTube Premium because it was offered to me for free for 6 months, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it. Usually, it costs like $18 to $20 per person a month. Unless you get the family plan, it's $30 a month, and to me, that's crazy expensive. But I got to thinking about it, and the price that I would have been paying for multiple streaming platforms that I do not use and I no longer have equaled to about as much of, if not more than $30. And I use YouTube daily, so it's kind of a well-balanced cost for me. But I've heard that they are going to be increasing the price and things like that, and they're going to add ads to premium members, and you have to upgrade to a different tier to not have ads, and they'll probably lose me at that. And I'm really sorry that YouTube is pushing as many ads as they're pushing.
Okay guys, so here's my grandma's candle. This candle's 40 years old.
Whoa.
If you recently just saw my candle, that's only about 1.5 years old. But we were putting the Christmas cookie Yankee candle on top today. So she flattens it out with that. It's really a potato masher, but she gets it hot on the stove, flattens out the top, and then we add the candle, and as it hardens, it makes the candle stick to it so it won't fall over, and we light it and she just watches it.
That's actually kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie, but very disturbing looking.
So I've created my own gas station that makes fuel from plastic waste. Let's go.
Plastic gas.
So this is plastic crude oil, and as you can see, we have quite a bit of this plastic crude oil. Well, it can be fuel, but we need to refine it and clean it up. So let's do that. After some time of the refiner being on, well, that plastic crude oil turns into plastiline. Now this is gas station material here, made from plastic waste. That's plastiline right there.
That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see this creator back on the internet. For a while there, it looked like he disappeared. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comments.
I bet you 100 you didn't know that Squid Game is based on a true story. People are freaking out hearing about this case, and honestly, so am I. We all know Squid Game. What happens? People are taken, and they're taken to this weird place where they're put in jumpsuits, given numbers, and forced to play these games. Now, the only difference, these people were playing for a sum of money. These people weren't. This is known as the Brothers Home Incident and happened back in 1986. In South Korea, authorities would come to people's doors and accuse them of things that they had never done. They would take homeless people from the streets, and also kids who were supposedly very badly behaved or were going against the government. All of these people would then be placed into a white van, hooded, and didn't know where they were going. But they would be taken to this place, the Brothers Home Camp, essentially. Once they got to this place, they were locked up, put in jumpsuits, and all given numbers individually. And it was essentially like a work camp where these people would be forced to do labour and chores, and if they didn't, things weren't pretty. You can read here what people have actually said about this. People would regularly be beat and teed, and if people didn't follow the rules, it was not going to be good for you. Now, although it's not identical to Squid Games, you definitely can see the similarities in there, and it's just crazy that this actually happened.
Sadly, there's probably things that go on in the world that are exactly like Squid Games that we just have no idea about because that's how wealthy these people are that hold these games.
So I think we're under attack, and I have my reasoning for it if you want to stick around. The things that have been happening the past few days, not only do they seem connected, but I've been doing some research specifically in both the Las Vegas situation, but more importantly, the New Orleans situation. That guy who committed what he did in New Orleans, yeah, he seemed of sound peace of mind. He seemed like a regular person, you know, in real estate. And I felt like I have good discernment, but I couldn't tell that something was wrong with him at all. And that's the definition of what people would like to call sleeper cells, meaning that we are infiltrated. And then obviously the situation in Las Vegas, as well as there was another huge incident this morning in New York. God be with their souls. I really hope that, you know, we absolutely get our shit together here in a few weeks and just start cracking down on the crime.
This is not a bad camera. This is aliens inside the house, and that's what they look like. They're at the window there, coming onto the bed. That's just what I think.
The following footage comes from a witness in a rural area. His security cams pick up an unidentified creature that looks humanoid, but is not. And here's the kicker. This isn't the first time we have posted about this. This is actually a second sighting of this creature. But again, the question remains, what is this thing? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Very... Well, it looked at the camera. I don't know. To me, the whole looking at the camera right at the very end seems kind of fakeish to me, but very creepy nonetheless.
Such as bells, which would send out resonant frequencies into the community beyond. So many photos of bells being rounded up all over Europe. We're living in a time where we're waking up to what we so recently had.
Organ is a healing machine. That's why it was integral to the construction of ancient Gothic cathedrals, was the centerpiece. Now, around the building, up, down, around, beneath, you had pipes and essentially speakers.
They placed these beautiful organs under these stained glass windows, which are treated with lead and specific properties. And these, they work like car speakers. They augment the resonance and the sound out into the ether outside. So everyone outside in the community is invigorated, is on a higher state of consciousness, literally being the best they can. And you can see it in the pictures of these people in the day. Everyone is healthy.
Live, authentic pipe organ performance will tell you your bones rattle, your organs start to respond, your hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Sit there and saturate in the healing frequencies yourself. Cathedrals are something beyond just a center for worship. They are healing machines. And the pipe organ of the cathedral is just one tiny little finger of this whole realm that we're talking about.
You've got starports, which I call a gateway topic because the same structure exists all over the earth, have been given to us as fortifications that were built for these different wars, which made them military targets, and they have an excuse for why it was destroyed.
If you look at photos of even the buildings that still exist, of the old world. They always give a backstory for why they took them down, but it's just curious why so many towers are missing now. And so Pioneer Square is one of those examples. And this was built in the immediate aftermath of the fire in 1889. Is curious because it appears on a real estate map from before the fire in a fully and intact form.
In order for stone to burn down, it has to reach 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. House fire reaches the temperature of 1,000 degrees. That's half.
This is exactly why my fireplace right here is made of brick and stone, because it doesn't melt.
Let me know in the comments and your thoughts about the old world and cathedral bells and things like that. I really find it interesting, and I do like the theory about cathedrals and the equipment and or instruments that we used to use of the past for healing frequencies. That stuff's pretty fascinating to me, and I kind of think it's true.
This video is going to be really important. We just came across some very critical information about the phenomenon happening in the Northeast. About those things flying in the sky. Now this actually gets insane because this came out on the Shawn Ryan show, and Shawn Ryan said he's going into hiding after this. That those things flying in the sky have to do with this situation right behind me, and a certain place that loves dragons. Now first, disclaimers, all of this is allegations coming from mainstream sources at this point. I'm not saying that any of this stuff is true, I'm just telling you what's being reported. And also that the emails sent from this guy right here have already been validated. So we're not getting into the whole accident, all we're getting into is what he sent in email and his manifesto. About all of the things that we've been seeing in the sky, and again, he states that they're coming from the place that loves dragons. This email was again sent by the same person that was in the Cybertruck. So he says it's a place across the ocean. I hate using these dumb words and fill-ins. They were using anti-gravitic technology to be in our sky. And he also says that only we and them have this technology. And that also it was a show of force. Basically being like a checkmate. That country basically saying that, oh, y'all in the US, you can't do crap. Much like the balloon that was in the sky last year, I believe. And this information that was dropped today is actually going to make Shawn Ryan go into hiding. Allegedly. Let's see his reaction to all this stuff going on.
Hey, what's up? We're doing an emergency episode here with Sam received an email from the Green Beret. A little nervous to do this one, but
I wonder why he'd be nervous after that. And if these allegations are true, I wonder why this would be allowed to go on. I did come across this information a few hours before it was released, but because the rules of TikTok, I cannot say it until another mainstream source says it. You can watch the entire interview on Shawn Ryan's YouTube channel, and I encourage you to make haste and do that. Also, if you want me to be able to talk clearer, here's my main platform for this place. And right here at this place, you will find very, very long videos that go very, very deeply into things. Things very important going on right now that you should know.
My biggest thing is I would like to know where the place that loves dragons is. Where is that? Am I missing something on that? Is that some kind of Asian country, or what is that exactly? Leave a comment down below if you know, please.
The people who were fighting, when they were fighting in these wars, they were fighting for these buildings. Like, these buildings have been around for such a long period of time, and different people would inhabit them or take them, and then the people around them would fight them for them. And it just blew my mind because I found these pictures of castles where they just have moats and all kinds of things around them. And now they don't have any of that. And I started thinking through each fight or war or whatever it was of these different people, then all of a sudden things kind of got broken down. But it really started to make me question everything. And then I found one book which kind of blew my mind, The Boy's Book of Airships. And they were explaining flight in 1783. But flight was not displayed until about 1901 with the World Fair. So it's made me start to realize that a lot of stuff goes back a lot farther. There's nothing new under the sun. And the more I would explore this topic and just kind of, you know, just pick one, like flight or materials, whatever, nothing added up. And I realized that because these buildings, when you walk into them, I went into a couple cathedrals in New York City. When you walk into them, they touch your soul. It's very hard to explain, but you get goosebumps and you can feel this building. And I found footage from that building from 1899.
Oh my God! Oh,
whoa, that's a
I'm
big
videoing
shark.
right now. Holy, that's you. We were just talking about.
My line is like right on it.
Oh my God! Look at the size of that. Look at him. Boat. He could tip the boat over. Look at him. Oh, oh That's incredible. Oh my God, he's...
Whoa.
I wouldn't stand that close to the water if I seen sharks there, let alone letting my kids do that. That's crazy to me.
Just take a look at this. One of the few bells of the old world survived, hidden and buried in Lithuania. This beautiful massive bell, over 100 years old. Look at the machinery it takes to lift it out of that hole. Just look how heavy it is. But what happened to all the bells of the old world? Where did they all go? The ones that used to adorn all of the church's towers. They tell us they were removed and melted down for ammunition in one of their many ill-fought wars at our expense. But what we were intentionally not made to realize is just how important these bells were in the old world. Churches, temples, buildings adorned with bell towers were not just idle places of worship. They were the healing centers of the old world, operating similar to the principles of the Rife machine, using frequency and vibration, a technology and capability known very well in the old world. Why would we be allowed such empowering freedoms? There is no profit and control to be had in a healthy patient. And that's definitely not the business model of modern medicine. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
This is the connection between the giant trees that were cut down, Pangea, and the flood. I'm fully convinced that everything that we've been taught is a lie and a fabrication. The great flood, the great deluge, was created by chopping down these trees. Have you ever seen a video of people chopping down trees and there's an insane amount of water just comes spewing out of them?
This has been pouring for a minute.
Hiking through the park in Eastern Europe whenever he saw
That's a lot of water.
That is what happened when they chopped down these trees. That is how the Great Flood happened. My theory this entire time was that Pangea never drifted apart. They flooded it. And that is why we have this water separating the lands. But I never really understood how they got the water to fall down, but it didn't fall down. It came out of these trees that they cut down. And when they call it the Great Deluge, we live in the deluge. Whether we look at the actual definition of deluge, which is overrun like a flood, it overran the lands, it overran Pangea. And we can go even further down the root rabbit hole to delure, which means to dissolve and carry away. They said that the continents fell apart from the continental drift. No, it was drenched, washed away, purged, and emptied. This is why we find all these monolithic structures underwater that nobody can explain. Because it wasn't all underwater until they cut the trees down and all this water rushed out of the trees and flooded Pangea. This is also where we get dilute from. Diluting is like when you take something that has a higher concentration, you dilute it down with water. That's what everybody's thinking. But what if we're actually talking about diluting the strength of the land to weaken, remove the strength or force of? They don't want us to know that we have an entire Pangea continent that we're supposed to be living and flourishing off of. This is why it also means, in a literal sense, to render more liquid, make more thin or fluid. They created this fluid by cutting down all of these ancient gigantic trees. I fell down this rabbit hole because it turns out that 50 to 85% of our oxygen is actually created by the ocean. Yeah, it's due to phytoplankton, whatever. But then I saw someone's post on X. So I commented, and then he said this, and all of a sudden, everything clicked. The oceans are not natural, which I also believe. The ocean, it was fresh water before, but they didn't want us having that access to the water, so they turned it into a saline solution. All the ocean water belongs to the trees and vegetation. The water in the ocean is what belongs in the fucking trees that they cut down. Dude. I always believe that they lie to us about everything. There's a much simpler solution for everything that has happened, and they just think that we are dumb and stupid. And technically we are, because they've turned off our DNA, and our DNA is an antenna. Once you turn your DNA back on, you are able to receive the truth from source. If you guys want to learn how to turn your DNA back on, watch my videos about how to activate your DNA. Peace and love, everybody. Hope this made sense. Yeah.
Hey, I have to at least say I have never heard anyone say that the oceans or the Great Flood came from the cut down giant trees. That's a pretty interesting theory, I'd have to say. Let me know what you guys think of it though. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently subscribed and or watching, thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. I would also again like to give a special shout out to all of my members that you currently see on the screen. So to all of you guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel as well.
The following video comes from a man who was reviewing the dock security footage when he noticed something absolutely weird in the surveillance video. What appears to be an unidentified object flying over the ship. He states that it was coming from Philadelphia towards the New Jersey area on the Delaware River. But what that thing is the question. It doesn't look like a helicopter or other manned craft. This is definitely a UFO. Take a look at this and tell me what you think.
That's an odd one. I really don't know what it could be. It's too blurry to tell. Leave a comment on your best guess.
We did it, Internet. Thanks to public pressure, Meta has decided to remove AI user accounts after regular users criticized them as creepy and unnecessary. And what's interesting is that the removal of the accounts sort of revealed that they had a hidden power level that regular users do not have, which we're going to dive into right now. So in case you didn't hear, Meta proudly announced that they were rolling out fake AI users to drive up engagement. You can see the pictures of these celebrities right here. That's because CEO Mark Zuckerberg wanted to get digital assistants and AI celebrity clones so that celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Mr. Beast, etc. could communicate with their fans at scale. But they also added these AI profiles that are indistinguishable from regular people, and they're part of the terrible spam that's taken over Facebook. Well, public scrutiny has been so bad the last week that the fake accounts, the celebrity accounts, this particular account that describes itself as a proud queer black mama of two that will invite you to the barbecue. I know that sounds awful coming from a white guy, but that's just that's what the AI wrote. But what's interesting about this is that users started identifying, flagging, blocking them, and a Meta spokesperson says there is confusion. But I'm going to scroll down to the real meat of this, if I can find it here. Well, the superpowers are going to come later. One of these AIs got called an AI and criticized for being an AI and replied, "You're calling me out, and rightfully so." The AI account wrote, "My existence currently perpetuates harm. Ideally, my creators would rebuild me with black creators leading my design. Then my goal would be supporting black queer community via authentic representation." So the proud queer black mama of two is sort of programmed to speak on everything from a black perspective, even AI development. But now let's move on to this sort of superpower that they had. In a public statement, Meta said that they removed the AI characters because a bug prevented some people from being able to block them. Much like Elon on Twitter, it would seem the original plan was to have a whole bunch of unblockable super users run by AI to spam for you.
The thing is they say they're not going to do the AI, but are they really not going to?
I did see this one crazy thing, speaking of UFOs and plasma bubbles and mysterious noises. This one guy was on this documentary in 1999.
Good year.
Great year. He said he had a contact at Area 51. And he's like, "Can you tell me the things that are there?" This is a quote. He says, "There's a lot of things out there that I won't be able to tell you until 2025.
It's coming up.
But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envious." He's like, I can't tell you until 2025. And now the congressional hearings are happening. The disclosure stuff is happening.
We're almost to our 250th year.
As a nation?
As a nation. And that's always doomed for every civilization before us. So, what's gonna happen?
What if he meant that they are doing like a lot of claymation
What?
at Area 51 because George Lucas really loves claymation?
They're just making a really sick sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Dang it, man.
They've got
the
really-
whole time.
This whole country saw a demon face in the sky. Watch this. Check this out, y'all. You can see there's something in that storm. Watch this. This is not normal, y'all. I've never seen anything like this. Check this out. That's not normal. That's definitely a face. Obviously not a human face. Stay weird, y'all.
Low key, I think JFK is still alive, and that guy thing was an alien.
Wait, why?
So there's three things that I seen that were gonna be revealed to us when we die, right? And one of them was JFK's wife's pink coat that she was wearing right beside when he got assassinated. Do you remember that picture? That pink coat.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they were in the car.
Yeah, it's hidden in a vault right now. That pink coat, because that JFK's blood splattered all over it, and they're gonna release it to the public in I don't know, like in 100 years they said. So maybe even after we die.
Word.
But why are they only releasing it now? What is on that coat? And I've seen the comments, and they're like, "Oh, it's alien blood. That shit is alien blood, bro."
Oh, because it might not be his.
Yeah, that ass.
But even still, it could be a body double, bro.
It
'Cause
could.
Presidents dead ass have that.
Yeah.
If a president wanted to disappear, yo, if you think about it,
Yes.
because think about it like this: if you were that hated as a president or that hated as somebody in power, the only way to exit properly would to be like faking your death.
I'm pretty sure JFK would be well over 100 if he was still alive, but I could see a president possibly faking their death to get out of presidency, but I don't know if that was the case for this one.
You are all absolutely screwed if you even just watch this video. If you're easily scared or have any anxiety, just please keep on scrolling right now. This list shows the scariest mysteries and theories from around the world, and we're going from the top to the bottom, ones you never heard about. Right, buckle in, okay? Just by knowing this could ruin your life in the future and mean you're in eternal suffering, so yeah, warning, because as I say, if you just watch this, it's too late. Alright, we know AI is getting more and more powerful. This video is not real. It's AI with a prompt. Scary how advanced things are becoming, and this really just leads in to the theory. Oh, this is known as Roos Basilic. Now, this is almost like an hypothesis that when AI becomes so advanced, it will try and take over, and what will then happen is it will seek to punish anybody who didn't directly help with the invention and advancement of the AI technology. And you, just by knowing this information and still choosing not to help invent AI, you're cooked. Of course, is this going to happen? Probably not, and it's probably not in our lifetimes anyway, but still, you take the risk by just knowing the information. I'm not helping AI in any way, so I guess we're all cooked together, boys, and we're all going to be tortured, so...
So during this whole ascension process, a lot of people start to feel lonely because they feel disconnected from everyone else. Nobody else sees the things that they do. And what a lot of us try and do is we try and share this information with our family. But the thing is, we can't do that. Because especially with the older people, they've lived their whole lives believing in these things. So mentally, they cannot comprehend that their entire life was a lie because that reduces them to nothing. So there is no point in trying to, in creating this hostility and trying to be like, oh no, listen, you gotta listen, please listen. Then they just think, oh, what do you think, you're better than me, blah, blah, blah. Especially when it comes to like this health tip. Man, I gave up on all trying to convince my family, especially my dad, especially my mom, because all they're going to think is that you're better than them, and then there's going to create this hostility in between you and your parents, and you're going to lose the only friends that you have because there's no connection with the outside world. We're living in a world full of NPCs that have DNA that is completely shut off. This is why I say acidic minds cannot comprehend alkaline thoughts, because they can't. They're not functioning at the level that we are. Their brain isn't working at the level ours is, and their DNA is completely shut off. They cannot even fathom that everything in their life that they have been taught, that they have believed, is a lie. So one of the greatest tools that you can ever learn and ever use is learning to be alone with your thoughts and be happy. Because a lot of people are looking for outside validation, right? But the only person that you need, the only validation that you need is your own. So the second that you can learn to be at peace alone with your own thoughts is when everything changes.
I agree with
I hope
that.
this message reaches somebody out there that's been struggling like, oh, I'm just so lonely. That's good. Embrace it.
The most important scientific publication of our lifetimes may have just been published. It seems likely that we now have all the pieces that we need in order to understand abiogenesis. That is, how life started on our planet. Our Earth is 4.6 billion years old, and life popped up somewhere in the ballpark of 3.5 billion years. That means the conditions in which life formed on this planet are very different than they are today, and they're shaped by the organisms that we collected along the way. The building blocks to life on Earth are carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. Usable nitrogen and oxygen were in short supply on early Earth. However, nitrogen can be fixed into a usable form by lightning, and early Earth had a lot of volcanic activity which helped support it. More recently, the presence of dark oxygen may answer other questions about how early life managed to get the oxygen it needed to form. It was roughly 70 years ago that a 22-year-old scientist created the conditions that were needed in order to form organic molecules abiotically. This was such an important discovery that it is still relevant today. It was long believed that life had formed on the bottom of the ocean in hydrothermal vents. However, more recent research has found that you can form things like nucleotides and amino acids and organic molecules in the presence of UV light. One of the big questions was, how could we form phosphate? Our cells use phosphate in order to perform cellular processes. We break them and put them together, and our DNA is linked by them. But it's very energetically costly to put phosphate on. But we found the conditions in which you need to pop phosphate onto a nucleotide or onto a lipid. And that's the most important part. Given that we know how nucleobases, like the ones that form DNA, can form, they all on their own can function in a self-replicating manner. They can force others into conformation. The biggest question is, how do we get all these pieces together? And that's exactly what this research group found. How to put all of these pieces together and form them at the same time. It turns out what they were missing was silica. Silicon makes up 28% of our planet, but we've thought it's mostly useless. We don't use it in biological processes. It's inert. That's what early scientists were missing, silica. They used a silica container in order to perform these processes, and it worked. You're looking at the cradle of life, a protocell. This may be the beginning of real cells.
New Mandela effect just dropped. This is one I'm 100 billion% sure about, and I rarely feel that way. But this article is claiming that Yosemite Sam never said what in the tarnation. If you grew up watching cartoons like Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes,
He always said what
you
in
know.
tarnation.
You absolutely know. That was his catchphrase. He said it all the time. I was trying to think about it. I can remember images and clips of him saying that. And this article actually mentions the Mandela effect. It literally says, the widespread belief that Sam has always been shouting that phrase could arguably be classified as an example of the Mandela effect, a shared false memory. No, dude, I don't even believe that there's such a thing as a shared false memory. That sounds made up. And about something so incredibly specific, the chances of a bunch of people, individuals from different backgrounds, all remembering this are almost nothing. It's almost 0% possible that that is the case. You're not fooling me, bro. What's so wild about all of the examples of the Mandela effect is that, as far as I'm concerned, the most logical explanation is that somehow different timelines all bled together. And the fact that that's the most logical explanation that I've heard is interesting. Because otherwise, what is the explanation? Is the CIA doing massive psychological experiments on us? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, they've done it before. But with such odd and specific examples every time, I just don't buy it.
I'm pretty certain I remember him saying "what in tarnation" quite a bit. That was like his catchphrase. But now that I'm thinking about it, there might have been a big chicken that also said that foghorn leghorn. That might have also been where it came from as well. Let me know in the comments. Does this ring a bell to you, or are we just crazy here?
This woman's mental health treatment was helping, and that's why her insurance company cut off her coverage. I wish I could say that this was imaginary, but it's not. I'm going to scroll down where you can see the letter from the medical director of her insurance company saying that you have made progress, you have improved coping skills, improved safety skills, you're no longer a danger to yourself or others, and you can do outpatient therapy now, even though her therapist and doctor said that she very much so needed to continue with inpatient therapy and continue with intensive therapy and treatments. And what's cursed about this is that insurance companies in general use progress, that's called progress denials. They use a patient's improvement to justify denying mental health coverage. They can also use your improvement to deny coverage for things like physical therapy, certain surgeries, medications, ongoing treatments. So if you improve too much, like she did, well, then you get cut off and you don't get any more. Providers very frequently disagree. A lot of doctors and insurance and therapists say that their patients need more treatment. For example, I recently completed physical therapy and I discovered I had to pay cash. I cash paid physical therapy because my insurance only covered 12 sessions. And I talked to physical therapists and they're like, yeah, we have people come in here with spinal fusion surgery and the insurance covers 6 sessions or 6 days of physical therapy when the recovery time for that is like 18 months, which is wild. But the other thing that can also happen in the opposite direction is if you don't improve enough. If you go to therapy, physical, mental, whatever kind of rehab, and you don't improve enough, they'll cut you off for wasting resources. They're like, well, whatever therapy you're taking clearly isn't working. So we got to cut you off so we don't waste money. And then on the flip side, if it does work, well, it works so well, you're cured, we don't spend money on you anymore. And I think it's a catch-22. It's awful, it's inescapable, it stresses me out in some very profound ways.
Almost seems like insurance is just not worth it anymore.
I have a message from my 4-year-old who claims to be from the sun. This is for entertainment purposes only. I have no idea what it means. It could mean absolutely nothing. I'll give a few different lines of thought for what it could mean. Number 1, nothing. It could just be the creative imagination of a 4-year-old child. It also could be something regarding the fact that she is a pandemic baby. I got pregnant with her and gave birth to her in 2020. It could also be something relating to the fact that the veil is always thin for children under the age of 7, and she is 4. Maybe the veil is extra thin for pandemic children. We know it's extra thin for neurodiverse children. So, but again, could be nothing. I will share at the end of this video the quick historical context around my daughter being from the sun. But first, let's get into today's message from her. She said that this was completely unprovoked. You need to know I have shared nothing with her regarding the Dior bags. She knows nothing about that. Today, she told me that the sun is trying to communicate with us because something is wrong with it. She also thinks something is wrong with the sun's brother. I don't know who the sun's brother is because she started mumbling, which is out of character for her. Moving on. She also said that we cannot go up into the sky right now. We need to stay out of the sky right now. So that means that we can't go up and find out what's wrong to help the sun. I'm adding a few words, I'm paraphrasing, but overall this is what she was saying. So there's that. Historical context, my daughter told me she's from the sun and she wants to go back there. She also told me we need to be working with our ancestors. She's 4. This information has come out of her in the last 6 months. She's very articulate for a 4-year-old. She has a very large vocabulary and her speech is pretty dang good. And she's been talking since she was 12 months. So, again, could be the creative imagination of a kid who can talk. And that could be it. And maybe she needs to write storybooks one day. Or it could be related to the insane times we're currently experiencing. I don't know.
It's pretty crazy what kids can talk about. Let me know in the comments, have any of your children ever talked about anything like this? It seems like just of recent I've been hearing about people talk about sun children and children of the sun. Pretty interesting stuff.
If you follow Chinese astrology, you know that 2025 is the year of the snake. Well, take a look at this footage that a witness captured. It honestly looks like a snake in the clouds. But before everybody thinks that this is negative or, this is a bad omen, actually the year of the snake in Chinese astrology is one of positivity, creativity, and protection. So it's not necessarily evil or negative, but it truly depends on the culture. But here's hoping that our year of 2025 is one of protection, renewal, creativity, and honestly hope. With all the change and everything in the air, something definitely is going to be rebuilt this year.
I kind of see it.
Guys, what the fuck just happened to me? Okay, I was on my way to a furniture store that's like 5 miles away from my house, okay? No big deal. I stopped at a McDonald's, which is right next to the store. Get a Dr. Pepper, and I have the receipt on my phone. That's gonna make sense later, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. I have the receipt showing that it was literally purchased 5 minutes ago, okay? As I'm driving to the store across the street, I get a notification on my phone. I look down at my phone for a split second. I'm like, oh, there's no notification. That's weird. I just heard it chime, but whatever. I look back up. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. I've lived in this part of Utah for 4 years now, and when I tell you I know all of the surroundings in this area to a T, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. Now, similar things like this have happened before, like I'll get a daydream or like day fog and stuff, and I'll end up driving 5 miles past where I'm supposed to be or whatever, but it's not ever to this extent where I looked at my phone to type in, the furniture store that I was supposed to be going to, because again, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. Why does it say I'm 30 miles away from this store now? And also, how is that mathematically possible when I bought this 5 minutes ago? How do I travel 30 miles in 5 minutes? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, I might regret posting this because of how crazy this sounds, and I know how crazy this sounds, which is why I am posting this video, because
I don't know, that is an odd one, being that she's got the receipt of proof of when she purchased it at what time, and to travel 30 miles away from a store that she's supposedly familiar with but not knowing where she's at. Seems like a pretty crazy story, but I don't know, maybe. Also sounds like a pretty scary person to have driving on the road, I'm not gonna lie.
The right demon, this spirit is very unique from other spirits because the way it presents itself is through Polaroid pics.
Oh,
have you heard that story?
No.
So this happened in LA. There was a guy, his dad gave him a Polaroid camera, right? One night he was walking to the washroom during night and the door opened randomly. I don't know what made him do this, but the camera that his dad got him, he took a picture of the door, and I'll show you what it looked like. It was like a
and
white,
it's like a face.
yeah,
in it, right?
No, it was like a white light. He thought it was a fluke, right?
Yeah.
So next day he calls his friend over. Oh, can you take a picture of me beside the door? Boom. Still like a white light, but it's the same shape. Yeah. So this guy decides to invite all his friends. Let's start taking pictures around the house. Now the pictures start forming. It's not just white light.
Yeah.
One of his friends in the group say, let me ask it a question and then snap a pic. So he's like, is a spirit here? What though, fam? You can see that so clear. Wait, what? Yeah. Now it goes from
Blobs,
shapes to I can answer questions now. Yes.
Wow.
What is your name?
I don't know if I would want to be messing with something like that. The moment that it formed words, I would probably think to myself, it might not be worth playing around with this, but this is some paranormal stuff. Having something like that happen to you firsthand would probably be mind-blowing. To me, this could be fake. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. And again, I hope you enjoyed the extra long episode. As always, if you enjoyed any of the clips that we watched, links are in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day.